It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome. It's the Jill on Money show, the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. I am your host, Jill Schlesinger. I'm a CFP. I'm also the CBS News business analyst. And the way that we help you try to take the mystery out of your financial life is we encourage you to go to our website. That's JillOnMoney.com. JillOnMoney.com. And while you're there, there's a Contact Us button. Click it, write us a note, and if you want to come on the air live, all you need to do is check that box, and Mark does everything else. Let's start the program with Lynn, who's on the line from Maryland. Hello, Lynn. You are next.
Hi, Jill and Mark.
How's it going? What's going on? How can we help you?
Well, I'm kind of looking at our finances, and we're getting closer to retirement, and I'm feeling like we might not have enough. But my husband's of the other view that we're better than 80% of the population, so we should be fine.
Wait a second. I never like the comparison thing. I always feel much more comfortable saying, like, are we ready to retire based on what we are trying to do? You know what I mean? Because then it doesn't have anything to do with anyone else but you guys. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on for you?
Well, my husband just took a new job with a nonprofit.
Congratulations.
It's a great job. It's a great company, but it takes a huge bite out of our income because our insurance is really high with it. We're not able to put as much money away now as we were able to before. So it's a little worrisome.
Okay. Well, how much is he earning in the new job?
$150 before the health care comes out.
Okay. Are you working as well, Lynn?
I work part-time as a teacher.
Mm-hmm. How much do you earn as a part-time teacher?
Between $20,000 and $30,000 a year.
Are you also receiving a pension from a full-time teaching gig?
I'm not. We made that choice years ago to stay home and take care of the kids. Didn't really realize back then we weren't very financially savvy that we were giving up a pension to do so.
You are where you are, right? How old are you, Lynn?
I'm 58.
And your husband?
Is 55.
How much was he earning before this job? Was he working, and I presume is it a nonprofit? Was he at a nonprofit or was he at a private for-profit company?
No, he was at a for-profit corporate. He was a high income earner.
And what was that? How much was he making?
Well, his base salary was $170, but it went anywhere from $170 to $400, depending on stock.
What happened? Did he burn out? Did he get like, I'm done? What happened?
Did. He was there for a long time, and he left at a good time. He left of his own accord. During one of their layoffs, he raised his hand. So we got a great severance package.
All right. That's not bad. No. So on the $150 that he is earning right now, so he pays for health care. I'm surprised because usually nonprofits have like low salary but good benefits. But the health care, is it just his contribution is a bigger piece than you're used to?
It's he's only covered. Myself and our kids were not covered. We had to pay the full. So our health care that comes out of that is $15,000 a year.
Yowza. Okay. And then what about for his retirement contributions? Is he making any at this point or not?
It's a very minimal. Right now we're doing about 4%, and they do not match. They won't match for 2 years.
Tell me about how much you guys have saved and put aside, just so we can then figure out kind of where you stand right now. So from his big time corporate career, what's out there in terms of retirement savings?
So combined, we have $418,000 in a pre-tax 401k, $20,000 in a Roth 403b, $20,000 in Roth IRAs, $75,000 in pre-tax IRAs. So that's retirement.
Right now, that Roth 403b, is that what he's putting money into right now? Or
that's mine with the school system.
Okay, so that's Lynn. Got it.
And he's now opened a Roth 403b that he's starting to contribute to, but again, it's pretty minimal.
Okay, that's fine. How about money in the bank? You have some money saved up?
I am, and I know you don't yell at people, but we have $346,000 in cash and CDs.
I thought you were about to cry when you said that, but you were really kind of giggling. Okay, so 346 in cash. I'm not yelling at you. I'm fine. I'm good. What about brokerage accounts? Do you have a brokerage account?
We do not. We just learned about those from listening to you in the last year or two. Didn't even know they really existed.
Oh, I'm so glad that you were able to join us on this journey. You mentioned some kids. How old are they?
One is out of college, two are in college.
Okay, yeah. So what do we have? Like 20? Give me just the ages.
22, 20, and 19.
How are you paying for college?
So we had 529s to help them with, and we had a couple CDs. So 529s covered about 2 years, and then we have some CDs, and they do, 2 of the 3 have a few small loans.
But not bad. Like, you're not freaked out about the 2 other ones that are the kids that are left in school, right?
No.
In other words, I guess I'm wondering, is any of the cash allocated for the kids?
Nope. I did not include any of their money.
Okay, good. 22-year-old is launched, or are you supporting?
She is launched. She graduated, got a job right away, and has her own apartment now.
Yes, you have now achieved some real success, Lynn. Okay, what else do I need to know about? How about a house? You guys own a home?
We do have a house. We have a primary home that's worth about $600,000.
Oh.
And we have a vacation home that's worth about $400,000.
Are both of them paid for, or do you have mortgages outstanding on one or the other?
No mortgages.
Okay. So we know where your money is gone, paying off that stuff. All right. Magic question. He's 55. You've got the 150 plus, you're 20 or 30. So let's call it 170. Let's call it 175 total. But, I know the healthcare stuff. But are you guys able to float your expenses on the 175 combined?
We do. We're fine with that. In fact, I'm looking at the numbers and we can probably put away another $20,000 a year.
So if that's the case, that's interesting. I'm just thinking about, like what you really spend. What do you think? I mean, I know this is weird, but like, what do you think you're really spending on a monthly basis? And I don't want you to make it zero, like, oh, I'm so tight. But like when you look at your money that you're spending and some vacations and the stuff, what do you think you're spending on a monthly or an annual basis?
Monthly right now is about $6,500.
That's it?
Yep.
That's everything?
Yep.
That's great. So what's the game plan? How long is hubby going to work?
So hoping about 7 more years. Mm-hmm. So he'll be 62, but we're going to try to put money away so that we can float 3 more years before we start taking any Social Security.
If you look at his, since you're saying work for 7 years, so 62, we need to get him to 67, right? That's the magic number. Do you happen to know what your Social Security benefit is at your full retirement ages?
I do. His is $3,651.
3651. That's him. Yep.
Right now, mine's $1,440, but mine's going up every year because I'm eliminating a lot of lower, like $2,000 and $3,000 years.
Well, I mean, the worst case is that you end up half of his. So, that's not bad. You can take your own when you qualify and then switch to half of his when he qualifies, right. So there's that. We'll get back to Lynn in just a moment. It's the Jill on Money Show, JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get back to Lynn from Maryland. The worst case, if we look at it right now, it's his $3,650. You would get $1,800, half of his. And, now we're not bad. I mean, if you look at your $6,500 a month expenses to have $5,400, you got the lion's share of that would come in from Social Security with a big but, right? You know what the big but is like. So if he works until age 62, then we have 5 years that we have to actually finance. Yes. And that's not cheap. Tell me about his appetite for working longer or doing some part-time? Like how are you guys feeling about that?
So I think we would both be okay with some part-time to help, fund those years. But I don't want to do full-time. I'm older than he is by about...
Yes, you are, damn it.
About 3.5 years. So
okay. I like it. Like, I'm going to take those 3.5 years. I mean, we have to spend, I'm going to round it up. We're going to have to spend $80,000 a year, right? And so if you think about that I'm going to go peg his age 62 because that's obviously the big, he's the big earner. So can you guys save that 20? You say, I think I got $20,000 a year that I can invest, right? That extra money. Can we take that $20,000 for 7 years and put it away, not in cash necessarily, because we do have to actually have it work for you. That's the issue, right? So can we do that? Can we get that money moving? Can we get not all of your cash? Because I understand you probably are really freaked out. That's why you have so much cash.
Yes.
Could you swallow of your $350 or so in cash? Could you invest 200 of it? Oh boy.
Yikes. I don't know.
Mark, help her. 150. Wait, I'm negotiating against myself. How about, let's say 150. Okay. Let's say 150. So Mark, if they had $150,000 invested in for the next 7 years, and then another $20,000 a year for 7 years, right? How much can we expect that we have in this new exciting brokerage account for Lynn and her nonprofit Bleeding Heart husband? What would that grow to over the course of those 7 years? Because again, everyone listening, what we're trying to do is fill a gap. It is a 5-year gap, and we have to try to figure out how we're going to pull down $80,000 a year for those 5 years, which is, like not insignificant, right? So Mark, do you think that they can do that if we invested $20,000 a year for 7 years and immediately put $150,000 to work?
That'll get them about $400,000 in 7 years.
So it's pretty close, right? If you could do that, okay, and we now have it's funny how the symmetry works. That's $80,000 a year. Now, the thing that we're not accounting for, this is all back of the envelope, we're not accounting for the fact that inflation's going to happen. So $6,500 a month today we're going to have to pull some money out from somewhere to actually bridge the gap, because what's going to happen is $6,500 is going to turn into $7,000 or $7,500 or $8,000. So the good news is you have money saved. And so if we could essentially get you from 62 to his age 67, you put your money to work, you invest it, your other money grows. You've got $520-ish thousand. It looks good to me. And it's not a slam dunk. So as much as your husband's like, we're better than 80% of the people, and it's irrelevant, because if you spent $120,000 a year, I'd say you can't do this. But if you spent $40,000 a year, you'd be better than probably 95% of the people, which is you could retire at age 62 and support yourselves. You don't have that. The last thing that I can say about this is the longer you guys both work, any way, shape, or form, the better, right? Because then you're not pulling all that money down, that $80,000 a year. You're not pulling it all down every year, right? You're saying, oh, I don't need 80 this year. I only need 40 because we both made $20,000. So that can really improve your odds. I guess the other thing is you got $1 million of real estate. Are you planning on keeping those pieces of real estate for retirement?
So part of the time, yes. But then we figure 10 years in, we'll be selling one of them and using that money to fund our, part of our retirement.
Okay. Then I think you're in good shape. And the other thing to point out is that you guys are used to being in a higher tax bracket, I'm pretty sure. Especially you're probably used to being in, say, that 24% tax bracket.
We were way higher than that. So yeah, it is much lower now.
Right. So now the good news also is that no money that you contribute should be in a pre-tax environment. It should only be Roth. Okay. And
that's what we're doing. I've been listening to you.
Right.
My husband started his job. I said Roth.
what I'm going to suggest to you is, have you ever really invested on your own besides retirement? Do you feel like you could or want to, or do you think you need some help?
I think I can do the three buckets, the index funds that are stock, fund, and international.
So I think what you could do is you could move the Roth IRAs, right? Any pre-tax money that is sitting somewhere else that needs to be rolled over. You can move all of that and open a brokerage account somewhere where it's easy to invest in index funds. And so that would be, let me give you like your choices. That would be anything from Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, which I think is being absorbed into Schwab, Mark. I'm not sure. T. Rowe Price. Any of those places, they'll help you consolidate the accounts and you'll invest. The big problem that you're going to have is that you kind of need a little nudge to get that cash to work. And if you think you need a little nudge, you may want to try the Vanguard Personal Service Advisor. It has a minimum of I think it's only 50 grand, and they'll help automatically get that cash to work for you. They'll help you either do it in a lump sum, or they'll say, okay, we'll take 10 grand a month out, or 9 grand, 333 into 3 different index funds, whatever you decide. But it may be worth it for you to pay a little bit more for that personal service advisor just to give you a boost. And you know what? Your life is going to be changing in the next 10 years. So maybe it is not a bad idea to have some advice along the way. What do you think of that?
I think I could do that. I'm only learning from podcasts and books, and I just started at 50 to start learning all this. We didn't have any financial background at all.
You're doing a great job. Last little, dotting of I's and crossing of T's. Do you guys have your estate documents completed?
Yes, we do, actually, and we just went this week to update them.
Oh, great. Fantastic. I think you're in good shape. Keep working is good, and it's good for him. And listen, he made the big change. He did the reset. He did his great money reset. So congratulations to both of you for pulling this off and getting to a place where you said, hey, he's working for a place I feel good about. I think that's great. I think you really are in good shape. And so if you have any other questions, we're here for you. But that's kind of my basic advice. You feel okay about it?
I am. The only thing I'm still worried a little bit about is healthcare coming up as we get older and how we're going to fund that.
You're going to pay for it until you get to age 65. So first of all, the kids are going to come off at age 26. They're done anyway. So they got to get their own. Maybe they're all going to get jobs and have their own health insurance. Then it's just you. And if the two of you're already paying 15 grand for healthcare, you'll be used to paying it. And you'll either go on the marketplace or you'll wait to get your Medicare. And, you'll make it work. But, it's not like you're not going to pay $0 to $100,000. You're already paying 15 grand, and it'll be cheaper than that. It'll be cheaper than that for you in the future for one extra person. You'll get Medicare. When you're ready to apply for Medicare at 65, do it. And then we'll see where he is. He may say, hey, I want to keep working. I like the health insurance. That could be good too.
Thanks for relieving my mind.
It's Jill on Money. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. Let's get to another listener. It's Anne, who's on the line from New York.
So I've been a saver all my life. I started with a mutual fund probably at about 18, quickly made that an IRA. Then through work, I always had 401ks. I would roll them over to IRAs. I converted to a Roth probably in my late 30s. I'm in my early 50s. I now have money saved up in my Roth. I have some money in my work IRA or my work 401k. I recently had a loss in the family and I was left some money. And that's what I'm trying to figure out now is, do I have enough to retire at this age? What do I need to do to fill the gap in?
All right, so let's go through a few of the details. So first of all, Anne, how old are you?
53.
Okay. Are you married, partnered, single?
I'm single, no children.
Okay. And how much do you earn right now?
I earn about $86,000 a year.
Okay. And on the $86,000, you say you have a work 401k. About how much do you contribute every year?
I'm maxing that out now at $30,000.
Wow. How much money have you put in the 401k so far? What do you have in there?
$85,000.
Okay. And then you said you also have a Roth IRA, right?
Yes.
How much is in that?
$410,000.
Wow. That's awesome. And do you have a brokerage account as well?
Yes, I have my funds except for the 401k. That one's at Fidelity. The other ones are at Vanguard. I have my brokerage there too at Vanguard along with the Roth. I have about $610,000 in that. And that's a mix of mutual funds, some bond funds, and a basic money market that I'm using to save up. Well, actually not save up, but using to put down on my home. I'm buying a new home out of state.
Oh, all right. Hold on. We're going to get to that in a second. So in that brokerage account of 610, is the inheritance also in there, included in that, or is that held separately?
Part of it. I had a 2-part inheritance. So part of it's in that brokerage account because that came in through a trust. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is in the inherited IRA.
And how much is the total inherited IRA?
That's $1,060,000.
Holy smokes. It's like a lot of money here, Mama. And
Yes.
in that inherited IRA, was the death recently in the last year or two? Is it prior? What
It was within the last 9 months.
Okay. All right. So we have 10 years to get that out. All right. Now let's go to some other stuff. You said you're thinking about a new house, which leads me to think you have a current home. Is that right?
Yes, I own a home here in New York State, and I did buy one down south. It should be finished being built in December.
How much is your current home worth?
I could sell it for about $250,000 now. I bought it for $148,000. I have a mortgage of $100,000 on it.
Is the game plan to sell New York and move to the southern residence?
Yes.
And the place down south, how much is that?
I'll be mortgaging about $420,000.
So what's the value? And so, okay, I'm sorry.
$556,000.
$556,000. So this is, you've already done this or you're about to do this?
I already did it.
Okay. Look at you. I already did it. So what did you put down money from brokerage? Where did you have the money come from?
Yeah, I took it from the brokerage. I had, since that relative passed away, I've been withdrawing $9,000 a month with the goal of getting it down within 10 years, but in smaller chunks for tax reasons. So I've been using that money for my initial down payment, and then I'll be accumulating it the next, 7 months and using that rest to put down for my deposit, then taking the money I get from the sale of my New York home, replenishing my brokerage. So I really won't be out money.
All right. I mean, you have plenty of money, so let's not go crazy. So at the end of the day, you'll own this house down in the south. You'll move down there full time. Was the idea that you were always going to retire, or were you planning on working and then and perhaps trying to do something remote? Like, what was the game plan that you had?
And my initial plan was to work until about 58 or 59 and retire because I could fill the gap with health insurance through the money I had saved, because that's the one thing that's bothering me now is health insurance until I can collect or take Medicare. Right. So my thought now is to partially retire, to pursue hobbies. I'm moving down to a 55 and over. It's on the lake, so there'll be some activities, blah, blah, blah. So my idea was, would I be able to retire within the next 2 to 3 years?
How much do you think that you will need to live on when you move out of New York? What's your guess?
I've actually been working on a budget and I've overestimated it just to be safe. And I'll need a roughly maximum $6,000 a month. I'm very frugal. I do like to travel. So I have put some money aside for that.
Okay. When you say the $6,000 a month, does that include your health insurance or not?
No, that does not. And that's assuming that I'm getting it through work still. So I did not add that, and that's going to change it. And that's what's holding me up is the health insurance.
Let's just add it in. Now we need $7,000 a month, right? If you take we're going to pretend, when is the house ready to be done? Like, when you want this to happen, like now or the end of the year? Like, what's your game plan?
I'm waiting for it to be finished being built. Probably between December and February, I should be closing.
All right. So we can say you're done at the end of this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would do this. I would stop taking money out of the inherited IRA right now. It's just going to add to your tax liability, and you're still working. So you don't need that money right now. And you're living fine on your $86,000, right?
Yes.
You feel comfortable, right? Okay. So first things first, what I would stop doing is maxing out your retirement account, your traditional 401k. I would stop doing that because we need to just have money that's liquid and easy and living on it. You don't need a 401. You don't need the traditional money. You don't need that. Absolutely don't need that. So what I think is the game plan is that you would, I think I agree with what where you were going with this, which is, okay, I'm 53. Between 53 and 63, I'm just going to use the money from the inherited IRA. I'm going to pull the money out every year and I'm going to live on that. Like, pay yourself. Think of it as like, that's my wages for the next 10 years. And you're not entitled to a pension, or you are?
No,
okay.
No pension.
If you would like to join us on the air, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get back to Ann from New York. We're going to basically deplete this within 10 years because you have to, which is fine. You can afford this because amazingly, maybe not when starting next year, if you take this money out, if you say, let's just make it round number, 10 grand a month, you pay the tax on your 10 grand a month, right? That's 120,000. You'll be in the 22% tax bracket if you're going to have a little bit of a deduction from the mortgage. And, even if it's not enough, you certainly have a standard deduction that you're mostly going to be in the 22% tax bracket. You take 10 grand a month, you pay your tax that's due. You are basically living on that for the next 9 years. Okay? Easy. It's all done in 9 years. That's you've complied. You've taken the money out. Great. At that point, you're 63 years old. Actually, are you 64, right? Because this is for next year we're starting in. And now we have to think about Social Security. And the cool thing is about your situation is that you have the brokerage account and you have the Roth IRA. So you have $1 million already. And you use that to live on for those next few years before you claim your Social Security. And then I think you're good because now what we have is your Social Security benefit. So tell us, what is your Social Security benefit likely to be? Let's start with your full retirement age.
I'm planning on taking retirement at 65.
Why?
The full retirement would be 67.
Yeah. So what's the number at 67?
Oh, at 60, I don't know that number. I know the number at 65 would be like about 30,000 a year.
Okay. And I know you're just sort of pegging that to like, oh, it's Medicare, but you're still probably better off waiting till 67. Do you have longevity in your genes?
Yes, I do. That's what gets me thinking about how long will this money last? Will it last me if, say, I make it to my late 80s or early 90s?
Probably.
I live a healthy lifestyle.
I mean, if you wait till age 67, you still have, remember, we have right now about $1.1 million, right? Right this second. Forget about the inherited IRA. That $1.1 million, even if you don't put any new money in, well, you're going to put a little bit in because you'll have from the proceeds of your house. So let's say you have $1.2 million. Mark, what is $1.2 million invested for, let's make it 14 years, okay? And let's use a rate of 5%. 5% annualized return for 14 years?
2.34.
Okay. So if you have $2.3 million at the age of 67, could we then generate the money that we think you're going to need to supplement Social Security? I think you can. I think that will be just about perfect. Because remember, your health insurance is not going to go to zero. You're going to have to pay for insurance out of pocket for now. But in Medicare, your costs will go down a little bit. And I think you should be just fine to generate $6,000 a month. Even if I inflated that $6,000 a month, you'll have the money to do it. If you're feeling at all skittish about this game plan, you could work full time. You could work part time now. There are a lot of ways for you to bring in extra income. I guess what I don't know is how much do you really want to be done?
That's where I am mentally. I want to be done. Partly because I'm at that age where I've been thinking about it, but I'm in the middle of selling this place and moving into a new one. I really am mentally done, at least with this particular job. But I'm worried about just resigning and having the money run out on me at one point. I'm not an overspender. I'm very cautious. So I'm not worried that way, but I'm relying on the market.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that there's a problem, though. If you're a worrywart, the way to do it is if you hate what you're doing, is there a way for you to do what you're doing part-time?
No, not this particular position.
Okay. So then what I would do is there's two choices. One is you know what? It's what I know. I know how to do it. It's fine. Or it's do it through the end of the year. Do your move and then go make some money part-time doing something. Make another make $30,000 a year doing something, not nothing that's going to cause you stress. That will take the edge off for you, but I think you can do it. I mean, you are young. You're awfully young to do this.
That was my concern, but it's reassuring to hear you and to hear these ideas because I didn't think of it that way. I'm thinking of when that inherited IRA goes, I forgot that I will still have money left over that right now is earning money.
Yeah.
I haven't invested. It's balanced. I'm going to recalibrate it.
Yeah.
Even if there's something catastrophic, it's not going to go away. I think that's what I needed was the reassurance from you and the idea of 2 different or 3 different plans at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great problem to have. And I'm hopeful, it's so funny. I keep hearing from people who are in similar situations where it's I'm kind of close, but you want an off ramp or you want an on ramp. Maybe it's an off ramp from the anxiety and on ramp to maybe a different time and a different way of living your life. And I think this is a really good outcome for you. Look, if you had not inherited this IRA, we would not be having this conversation.
Correct.
It would not be doable. Right? You know that.
Correct.
And even look, most people are not in a position when they're in their 50s to move up when we're talking about their housing. You're doubling the cost of your housing essentially, right? So if something changed or if you felt weird about the whole situation, then you could simply just work a little bit longer. You could keep going. You can see where you stand. You can give us a call back in a year and see, all these things are possible, but you have a lot of choices. I think you're in very good shape.
Thank you. That is really reassuring. And that's what I needed to hear.
Good.
And I think I'm leaning toward working just till the end of the year.
Good. Screw them. Let them eat cake, Ann. It's Jill on Money, and we'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And boy, this has been a blistering quick first hour. So I want to thank you all for listening. If you are interested in learning more about all the other content that we have, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. There you can sign up for the free weekly newsletter. And you can also subscribe to our brand new service called Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars and lots of cool bonus content. Check it out. $35 for a whole year. A deal. All right, let's do an email right now. This is from David, who said, I filled out a quick online retirement planning questionnaire and got a call from a guy asking me if I would be interested in converting some of my 401k into a, quote, living benefit rider, which guaranteed 5 to 6% since I am 5 to 7 years from retirement. He said this would protect me from the downsides of the market while still allowing me to gain when the market is doing well. The cost is 1.15%. After looking it up, I think he's talking about an annuity, and I'm not sure I'm interested. Or should I be interested? Boy, it's hard to trust a random phone call, yet it was intriguing. Well, David, here's what I suggest. If you're intrigued, have them send you all of the information via snail mail, or they can send it to you as a package electronically. Once you get that package, we can parse through it together. It sounds like an annuity to me as well. And frankly, 1.15% isn't the worst price for an annuity. But I wonder if there are other hidden fees. And I also wonder whether or not this is the right product for you, given everything else going on in your life. Once you get that information from this guy, then be sure to give us a holler. We'd love to bring you on the air live with us. So just go to JillOnMoney.com and hit the Contact Us button. Say, hey, you asked me to follow up, and let's talk it through. Let's find out if this strange product is in fact something you might want to consider. And for anyone getting a pitch like this, do the same. Go to JillOnMoney.com, hit the Contact Us button, and let's walk through this. But do get the information. Let's get all the details. We want to dot I's. We want to cross T's. We want to help you out. Jill on Money will be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. If you've got a financial question and you're shy, don't worry. Sometimes we read an email. For example, we're going to do that now. This is an email from Ella, who loves the podcast. She says, here's my issue. I can get better returns with CDs and high-interest money market funds. She says she's a Fidelity client. And she said her managed brokerage account is holding even. Why even have a brokerage account? Fidelity makes a big deal about how they do tax loss harvesting to minimize taxes. Thank you. Okay. I know a lot of you have had this question. And here's the thing. Yes, right this second, you can get better returns maybe with CDs. But over the long term, you may find that CDs will rarely beat a diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds. Yeah, okay, I get it. In 2022, they did. And even now, you're going to get 5%. But, listen, you may not realize it, but the stock market has been rising this year. Yeah, I know it's been a little volatile lately. But the real key is that at certain times, a fixed income product like a CD, like a treasury, can beat a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, commodities, etc. But over the long term, what we know is if you cling to your disciplined approach and you don't mess with it, you will be better off over time. The one other issue that I would point out to you is that this is kind of a little bit like market timing. You're really essentially trying to say like, all right, I'm going to use CDs for now, and then I'll just get out, go back to my brokerage account when things get better. I don't know when things are going to get better. So I just want to be sure that you understand, unless you've got so much money, maybe you don't even need to grow your money. Maybe you've got pension income, whatever else is going on. But for the vast majority of people, a diversified approach to investing is going to be the key to your success.
I'm wondering how that managed account is actually managed, because the market this year is basically up 18%.
Right. It seems odd, truly. It really does. Here's a question about online banks. So a lot of people are talking about this because they're often I'll be on TV and I'll be like, just check online. And they say, this is from Marilyn, says, I see so many promotions for online banks or lesser known banks. They have great interest rates for checking, saving CDs. She writes, I'm terrified of being scammed. Enrolling them, having my money lost on the internet. How do I know if the bank or opportunity is legitimate? I have no endorsement, Marilyn, but I will say I like depositaccounts.com, which is an aggregation site. All you want to do is you want to go to the bank's website and make sure they have FDIC insurance more than anything else. One of the things I do all the time when I get, this is funny, when I get a spot to read, and I don't necessarily trust the salespeople who sell the spots, not on this program, because I think they're better on this program, but sometimes on my radio show. They're like, here's Schlocko and Jocko. Could you read their spot? So what I'll do is I'll take the name of the product and I'll just type it into my browser. And then after it, I write scam and I see what comes up. And remarkably, often what'll happen, I would say almost half the time, there's something that comes up. And so maybe that's another way you could put in Joe Schmo Bank, and then you see, does it have FDIC insurance? Is there anything, allegations against it? Is there any reported issues? That can be one other way. And then I think that if you're really scared, let me just go to depositaccounts.com right now, because sometimes when you go on to deposit accounts, you'll see some of these banks that are a little bit different. I'm going to just go to the CD portion. Sometimes you see a bigger bank that's there that has a high interest rate, but maybe you have to have a minimum. So like I'm looking at this one, Barclays has a 12-month CD for 5%. But there's also something called, Modern Bank National Association. Never heard of that. Maybe it's a great bank. I don't know. But maybe you want to use something that is a little bit more known to you with a slightly lower interest rate. All right, Jeff is an active duty Army officer. He's got 12 years of service and he's planning on doing 20. He and his wife are both 34. They've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And we will be PCSing to our new duty stations in 4 months. Mark, what do you think PCSing stands for? I'm going to keep reading. If you find that out, let me know. While we love our home and neighborhood, our current location is one we know we'll never return to live after we move.
I got it.
What is it?
Permanent change of station.
Oh, permanent change of stationing to our new duty. Okay. So they're not going to be able to. So here's the deal. Their next duty location is only 30 months. The housing market there is more expensive, so they're going to probably rent. All right, big deal. Here's the breakdown. Oh my God, do they have a lot of money? He's 34 years old and she's 34 years old. So ready for this, gang? Vanguard taxable brokerage. You ready? $540,000. Thrift savings, $250,000. Roth thrift savings, $230,000. Traditional thrift savings, $20,000. Both have some Roth IRAs. He's got $160,000. She's got $80,000. They've got 529 plans. Their current home, oh, this is a killer, Mark, a 2.5% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Kind of a bummer, huh? Because they're not going to go back there. House is worth $550,000. The outstanding balance $370,000. They max out their Roth thrift savings and their Roth IRAs. They've got $500 to $1,000 extra per child. $250,000 goes into their 529s. The rest into the taxable brokerage account. My GI Bill has been transferred to my 2 children, who will each receive 18 months. No other debts. All right, here's a question. Would you recommend keeping the home and renting it out? We don't love the idea of being landlords, but we would hire a rental company or sell the house and invest the proceeds directly into our taxable account. Let the compound interest work its magic until we need the funds to retire. Yeah, I picked number 2. I don't like you probably could figure out how to make the rental work, but if you're not inclined to do it, what the heck? Take the money, invest it, and don't worry. And then maybe you're going to need some money when you get to the next place, not this next one, but the next one after that. I think it's very smart of you to be thinking this way. But if you compare your rental income and home equity and investments, don't go too crazy with this. I'd sell the house, put the money in the funds that you have already invested in your brokerage account, let it do its work. Now, the follow-up question, With what will be mostly taxable and Roth funds comprising the lion's shares of our nest egg once we retire, would it be wise to slowly add a bond fund to our taxable account, incur a bigger tax hit, or our Roth accounts and incur a smaller return in these tax advantage accounts that we plan on drawing from the less? I would put some bond funds into any retirement account. You don't have to make it crazy. You're going to have a pension. You're going to have more money than you know what to do with. I would have some part of your portfolio, especially in the retirement accounts, in the bonds. And bonds are actually good. They've fallen in price. You're making a good, your market timing to your advantage in this case. And they're 34 mark. What percentage should be, maybe not in the taxable brokerage account, but what about in the retirement accounts? What do you think for the bond position? What percentage?
No more than 20.
Okay. You heard it there.
And the fact that they're going to have, I'm guessing, a nice pension, maybe even less. But I know I'll go 20 just to make you happy.
All right. That's fine with me. Good luck, Jeff. Thanks for writing in. Thanks for serving. If you have a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and hit the Contact Us button.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
Welcome back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. Not the best, better. Better's fine, fine. If you would like our help, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and hit the Contact Us button. While you're there, check out my book. It's called The Great Money Reset, perfect for so many big decisions in your life. Right now, let's do an email. This is from Robert, who writes, my employer offered a separation package where I will receive a lump sum of approximately $125,000 after a tax withholding of about 22%. I currently have $8,500 a month in expenses. That's going to go down to $6,000 after I leave the company at the end of the month. I've moved my 401k to IRAs that my financial advisor suggested. There's about $200,000. He's now advising me to place $125,000 into a mutual fund and draw from that for our living expenses, along with $3,500 in Social Security income and my spouse's $1,000 monthly Social Security check. Would it be better to deposit the $125,000 in a savings account with Marcus, that's owned by Goldman Sachs, at 5.1%, and Vanguard and their cash account of 4.5%. Just don't like the fees and commissions being charged by this brokerage firm, and they're not fiduciaries. Listen to this last part, Mark. I also have to make a decision on a $485,000 pension plan and need to move it before September of 23 or face a reduction because of interest rate increases by the Fed. You know what you need, Robert? I think you need a fee-only financial advisor to do an evaluation of you, like fast. So I wouldn't do anything. I would not put new money in with this broker. What I would do is hire somebody, maybe go to the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, NAPFA, NAPFA.org. And I would have somebody run for a flat fee an analysis of your retirement planning. And in that analysis, they're going to tell you about what to do with the pension plan, what's the best way to manage your expenses. You know, I don't know whether you probably haven't claimed, I don't know, maybe you have claimed Social Security. It's like, I don't know if you're about to or you haven't done that yet. I'd love to have more details. I'd like someone really banging on these numbers before you make any big decision, especially with that pension. I think that pension could be the key. You may not need to do anything with that lump sum of money, that $125,000. Okay, Tanya says that she and her husband moved to the United States from Canada 10 years ago, and they just recently received their permanent resident cards. Listen to this. I have not been allowed to work since we moved here, but I just recently received a Social Security number. Although my husband has excellent credit, our banker suggested I obtain a secured credit card to start building my own credit. I've been doing some research. I really only trust your advice. I've watched you for years. Is there a secured credit card you would recommend? I wouldn't be putting down a lot, $500. I just use it for small purchases. Much appreciate your thoughts, input, advice. You know what, Tanya? It's interesting. Even though your husband does have good credit, it isn't your own record. And so I think building a credit record is very important for everybody. Okay. Capital One, I know, has had one for years. And I think Visa has one. So maybe check those out. I wouldn't go crazy. I think it's really is a good thing to use these cards as a way of building your credit score. And I think that that's important in terms of how you view your own financial life, that each of us has a credit score based on our own Social Security number. So now we're starting over a little bit for you, Tanya. So go ahead and do it and give those a try. Let us know how things turn out. Okay.
Looks like the top rated ones are, like you said, Capital One and Discover.
Oh, Discover. That's right. I forgot about Discover. So give those a whirl. Okay. Carlos writes, I've heard one television financial professional suggest that you should have 2 years of expenses saved in a cash account when you retire, so you're not withdrawing money in a down market. I hope this Carlos is not talking about Jill Schlesinger on CBS News. I've been known to say that. If you're required to take required minimum distributions anyway, and the majority of your retirement income will come from a pension and Social Security, is it really necessary to have that much as a cash reserve? Probably not. Maybe a year. I would have a year maybe. And that would be it. I'd love to hear more about you, because if your income, your pension, and your Social Security is going to cover your expenses anyway, then maybe you should be taking some of those RMDs and using that, and sort of a little bit at a time, paying tax on it, and then be able to take that money and use that as part of your emergency reserves. So that would be something to consider, so you can reduce RMDs later. Okay, last but not least, this is from Mary, who says, I'm a regular listener. I appreciate your insight on strategy, preparing for retirement. I could use a second set of eyes and a big picture approach to my next steps. Okay. We have been through a life and financial upheaval during COVID, including moving to a warmer climate and changing jobs, with some periods of and underemployment, and now retirement for one of us. Once we resolve our debt, my thought was to build an emergency reserve fund and then start a brokerage account. Should the emergency fund be in a particular type of savings account? The emergency reserve fund can be held anywhere. It can be held in a CD, a short-term CD, in a savings account, in a money market account, wherever you can get the best deal. All right, so that I would do. Next question. Should I cancel term life insurance policies? My husband has a motorcycle, so his risk is high. Oh, God. Wife is breadwinner, so income replacement is important. You should use an insurance calculator and to see whether you really need life insurance. I don't know how old you are and what other money you have, but maybe it makes sense while you're still funding things about, maybe building your emergency reserve. And as long as this life insurance isn't too expensive, you keep it in place. But if it's some bulky, old, permanent life insurance policy that has some cash value, maybe I would make a different decision. Okay, so he's 67, she's 56. She carries all the family health insurance. There's two whole life policies that are in place. There's then a universal life, and there's some terms. I mean, you can keep the term policies if you want. I don't think you probably need any of these whole life policies, and I would probably cash them out and get the moolah ASAP. So listen, you ask a lot of questions about annuities, you have income, all of these things. First of all, I want to encourage you to come on the air. So that's number one. Number two, all these retirement accounts need to be consolidated so that you can better manage them. Number 3, you mentioned debt, but I don't see it anywhere in this list of stuff you have. So what I think is you ought to be considering how you're going to pay down your debt. It looks like you have some assets. Let's use the assets and pay down your debt. You know, that's a very easy thing to do. I'm not so sure. I mean, you have a long-term care and a whole life hybrid policy for life insurance. That seems to be fine, but you seem to have a lot of assets here. So I'm not sure why we need so much more life insurance, despite the fact your husband rides a motorcycle and, you know, high risk. I need to know a lot more about the debt, where you are, what's going on with the house, and we actually need you to consolidate all of these accounts because there's stuff all over the place. It's impossible to manage these things, gang, when you have 17 different accounts. It really is. If you would like to ask us a question and you are shy, it's okay. We read emails, but it's so much more fun when you come on the program with us. That's why we encourage you to do so. Go to JillOnMoney.com, hit the Contact Us button, tell us what's going on, check the box if you want to come on the air. Mark does everything else. Jill on Money will be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. We do that in so many ways. We've got this show weekly, which you can always catch on YouTube if you've missed any part of it. We also have 2 podcasts that you can check out on the website and link to them and subscribe to them. And we have a blog where I just get to write my thoughts down about whatever's going on in the universe. This weekend, I actually posted about student loan repayments starting up again. I know we've talked to a lot of you about that very issue. And of course, there's the resource section. I love that section because there's a lot of easy ways to get to information that we talk about often on the program. All right, so if you would like to join us, JillOnMoney.com, just bookmark it. And at any time when you have a financial question, you can click the Contact Us button. It's just that easy. Right now, let's talk to Steve from Pennsylvania. Hi, Steve. What's going on, man?
Excited and anxious, but willing to. Hey, look, I love your show. It's so unique. So I'm really interested in your input on where my things look.
Okay, let's go. Who are you? What do you look gorgeous because I see your picture. So what's going on? How can we make you look even better?
Hit my 30 years of employment with the job that I do and looking to see the options. I sent you some numbers on what it will look like to get out. Really, I'm not sure sometimes what am I doing and where am I positioned. I think I'm smart until I listen to your show and I realize I don't know anything.
I don't want that to be the takeaway. Oh, I know Bupkis. You've got 30 years into a job. Is it a job that will allow you to claim a pension?
It will, yes.
What will your pension benefit be?
In 20 months, my pension should be around $6,000 a month.
That's great. Does it include health care?
It does not.
Okay. So how old are you, Steve?
I am 53.
Oh, you're young. My God. Do you have a spouse, a partner?
I have a spouse. She works basically part-time. There will be an incentive from the union to put $750 a month towards health insurance upon retirement for whatever plan I end up in.
I mean, honestly, that's still a reasonable amount of money to be paying. Does your wife intend, let's pretend it's 20 months from now, would your wife want to call it quits also, or would she keep working?
I would have to drag her kicking and screaming away from that job. She loves it.
Oh, that's awesome. How old is she?
She's 54.
How much does she earn in part-time work?
About $32,000 a year.
Oh, that's great. Does she get benefits herself?
She does not.
Okay. So you're covering her benefits. So in 20 months, what happens in terms of healthcare? You guys have to go to the marketplace, basically?
COBRA would carry me for the year and a half. And then with the union benefits should kick in after that with the $750 a month towards whatever I end up with.
Okay. So that's great. Now, Steve, can you guys live on your $75,000 a year plus her 32? Can you guys actually pay your bills? Like, how does it look for you?
We live in a cave, and it should be fine.
It's a very nice cave. I'm sort of thinking Fred and Wilma. That's the interior that I'm considering. Do you guys have kids?
They're ready to launch.
Oh, great. And let's talk about the cave. How much is the cave worth?
About where are we at? About $385 right now.
Okay. Any mortgage remaining?
105.
What's the interest rate on that mortgage?
That's right. I listen to you every day. We ended up at 4. We were considering moving until we really started looking at the numbers for this. So we thought we were going to move. Where it turns out we're stuck. We're going to be staying here.
For a little bit. For a little bit.
She loves her job, so she wants to stay there forever.
All right. Well, she's the boss, man. Come on. Let's think about this. When you retire, tell me about what money you will have saved. So you're going to get this pension. I'm not even talking about what you're going to do because in 20 months, you're still young. What's in the savings? Let's start with retirement. What do you have saved in retirement assets?
If I called my Fidelity account, retirement asset, that'll be 180.
Okay, great. And what about other stuff? What else do you have saved? Do you have a Roth or a traditional? Does your wife have a retirement account?
So $10K in an I-bond.
Okay, good.
$16,000 in checking, $90,000 in cash. That's for me. The wife has $19,000, half Roth, half IRA, $5,000 I-bond.
Okay.
$12,000 cash.
All right, that's great. I mean, how much money do you actually spend, really? I mean, you said you live in a cave, but what do you think you really spend?
I'm glad you asked that because we keep on breaking that down, and that's where I wrote in my email to you saying I'm losing my mind. I look at the numbers, and I think we're coming in around less than $5,000 a month we're spending. And I'm not looking for any grandiose retirement. I'm not looking to travel the world. I'm just looking to not go to work.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this. If that's your metric, if you're at $5,000 a month and you're going to be getting $6,000 a month starting in 20 months, I think the math is pretty obvious. You're great. You're in great shape. And if you never want to work again, that's pretty amazing. I guess the question really will be for you. Do you really think that, when you're 55 and your wife is 56, maybe she's going to be like, she's working. What are you going to do with yourself? Are you going to sit around and spend all your money? I doubt it. This is what I would say. I know what you do and no one else does, but it's a very high pressure job, ladies and gentlemen. So what I would say is you are certainly entitled and you can afford to retire in 20 months. I think what you should really consider, though, is, am I really going to be okay not doing anything? Because you could live for 40 years. You could. And does your retirement pension have a cost of living adjustment associated with it?
I've spoken to the old guys who have retired, and the cost of living isn't predictable. So it did pop up, once in 6 or 7 years.
Okay. So, I mean, the only reason why you have savings at this point is to make sure that you're able to keep pace with inflation. And that's what your investing is doing. We'll get back to Steve in just a minute. So many of you are thinking about retirement. It should not be a binary choice, yes or no. Sometimes there is an in-between period, and we love helping you figure out how you can maybe take an off-ramp to retirement, or maybe take an off-ramp to a different career. If that's something that resonates with you, go to the website JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter and check out our new service. It's called Jill on Money Live. This is where we conduct quarterly live webinars, and you join in. It's great. You can ask questions. And also we put some bonus content that goes behind the paywall. So it's $35, live webinars, bonus content, such a bargain. The Jill on Money Show will be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You are back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions, or maybe just clear up some of the fog that is entering into your financial life. If you've got a question, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Complete the form, and don't forget to let us know if you would like to join us on the program live. Check the box, and Mark will do everything else because he is the best executive producer in the world. Right now, let's get back to Steve from Pennsylvania, who's talking about his retirement options. I think that you're in very good shape. Now, one other question is, when you said $6,000 a month, if you dropped dead the day after you started the pension, would your wife get $6,000 a month, or is there some other thing that we need to be thinking about?
It would be a prorated amount if I chose that option on the payout.
You're probably going to have to choose that option because we cannot saddle her with, 30. Oh, good luck, honey. Hope that 32 grand goes a long way.
Jill, she's going to have a house sitting there. She's going to be able to catch. She's going to have a house
in a second. Let me tell you what she's going to have. She's going to have a house and a much wealthier next husband. I think you're going to have to at least consider taking a survivor benefit that is a joint and even a 50%. If you looked at the joint and 50% survivor so that she would get $3 grand a month, that is probably would be very helpful for her. And you should consider it. Do you have any life insurance on you?
I do with the job. That'll leave when I go.
I think you should take a look at that. Do you have those numbers? The joint and the joint in 100%, the joint in 50%. Let's look at those numbers.
I could look at those. I've considered it. It would be a lower payout for me monthly, but
how much lower? I mean, if it's like $5,800 a month or $5,600, you can float that. How much is your Social Security benefit estimated to be?
Whatever is a lot for me. I looked with 3,200, something like that.
Yeah, that seems right. And then she gets half of yours, or maybe she'll have her own. We'll see what's more. I mean, you guys are in fine shape. You know why? Because A, you saved, and B, you don't spend a lot of money, and your cave is done beautiful by you. So don't get rid of your 4% mortgage. Let her keep working. The longer she works, the better the plan works. So you should be encouraging that. And then you can sit around and eat your bonbons and do whatever you do in Pennsylvania.
Should my cash be sitting where it is?
Well, you got 90 grand in cash, right? You should have 40 or 50 that's accessible because that's like the right amount.
Thank you. I need to know that.
Yeah, 40 to 50 is the right amount, but make sure it's earning. Get it in a high yield savings account. Why give the money away? And you can put it you can put 20 grand in a 6-month or 12-month. I just saw a 6-month CD offer right from JP Morgan Chase of all places, like the worst possible rates. New money, 6% for a 6-month CD. Because you're going to want to have some cash available to you when you're done in 20 months. So I don't think you have to put the 90 at risk. I would for sure get it working a little bit more for you. Okay. I love that you are kind of testing yourself, and that's good. And I really think that you are in a place where, you've worked your butt off and you deserve to retire. And again, making sure that you are not like if all of a sudden you retire and you're like, oh my God, I thought we were $5 grand a month. We're at $8 grand. If for some reason those numbers start changing, get back in touch with us. Then we have a problem. But at $5 grand a month, you're fine. And you're certainly fine once you start receiving Social Security. You're fine anyway. If your wife decides like, you know what, I'm going to work till I'm 65. You've got like made in the shade. You'll be traveling the world all of a sudden. You'll be like, I don't want to travel the world. Then you will be. It'll be a good thing.
I have a boat. I don't have to go anywhere.
Oh, you're one of those. All right. Well, go get you'll spend money on your boat, but you're in good shape, man. You really are. And I think that you can do this. Do you guys have your estate documents? You got a will? Do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a healthcare proxy?
We have a sloppy will, which means we need to go and fix that, firm that thing up.
Yeah, firm that up, especially because you've got kids and, you're young. Life's weird. So let's get that tightened up.
So the whole intention would be all those numbers I listed would just be to let them sit and grow and just live off that pension check.
You betcha. You betcha. And not touch them. Not touch a darn thing until you're forced to. We'll see. Stay in touch. You'll let me know how things are going. Maybe there'll be an idea here where we say, let's start taking some of the pre-tax money out. Let's take some IRA money out and pay the tax now. Before there is a case to be made that you should be pulling a little bit of money out before you receive Social Security, because you'll be in a tax bracket that's affordable. And you'll just say, you know what? It's fine. We're in the 22% tax bracket. We'll take some of the money out. This will be when you're 60 or 65 years old. You know what? But we'll have to see what the law is at the time and where tax rates are. But for now, it's like you're in the autopilot mode.
So I should buy that car before I retire.
What kind of car? Don't be telling me that I made fun of some guy. I'm like, what kind of car do you have? Because a Ram truck. I'm like, oh, you're a man. What kind of car do we have to buy?
No, anything. My car right now is 13 years old with 185,000 miles on it.
That's how I roll, Steve. If you're going to buy a car, then sure. Like, yes, buy it now. You have some cash, and then maybe that's what you do. You say, you know what, I got to spend some of the money. I don't want to finance it like a ding dong and pay like 7% for a car loan. So maybe you say, yeah, I'm going to take some of the money out, and while I'm still working and making as much as I'm making, maybe I'll get that car and get it done before I retire, because I can pay for it. If you would like to join us on the air live, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Jill on Money will be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we conclude the program, let's do an email. This is from Trish, who writes, I worked in Baltimore for a wealthy family in their private home for 27 years. I was told that upon the senior's death, I would receive $25,000. I was gifted $12,000 2 years ago because the man wanted me to have it before he passed away. I sat in on a 3-hour family meeting with their lawyer while they were still alive with 2 of their 3 children, and I was made aware of the promise. I had to sign papers because I was independent from family members. It's been a year since he passed away. How do I contact their children about what I was promised? I have no idea who the lawyer was. Oof, this sounds like it could get a little dicey. So, generally speaking, if you were actually named in a will, or if you were a beneficiary of a trust, you would have likely been notified already, usually by mail, from the executor about probate. Now, the thing is, I don't know if these kids are trying to mess with you or if maybe they just haven't actually gone through the process of probate yet, but it would be odd to me that everyone was sitting on a meeting and you signed a document and you haven't been notified. Maybe something that you could do is to approach the kids, and maybe you have a better relationship with one than the other, and ask straight up about exactly what you said. I was in this meeting. I could have sworn that I was promised this money. I'm pretty sure you were there. What is the status of the estate? And when should I expect to receive that $25,000? Presumably, the answer will either be quite straightforward or there'll be a lot of mumbo jumbo. The mumbo jumbo part could be a little problematic because it may mean that you need to actually get a lawyer. So I hope that helps, but it's a very difficult situation. All right, that is it. That is the program. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is the executive producer and Webb King. We like to remind you to lift someone up, change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.